Can I get a glass of water? I'm serious. I'm thirsty. Can I get a glass of water? This is not a prank. You never seen it?
No.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
Oh,
it's amazing.
No.
He gets a glass of Flint tap water, and I swear to God, he drinks it like this.
Problem
He's
is solved.
bullshitting the world. Watch this.
Can I get some water? I really did need a glass of water. This is not a stunt.
Usually when something isn't a stunt, you have to say that.
Speaking of Barack Obama, he decided to drop a post on X today, and I thought, okay, maybe in the wake of the Pete Hegseth presser, he's going to say something like, no matter how you feel about the Iranian strike, hats off to our, boys in blue, our guys in the bombers. He went a different way. This is what it was.
Curious how you're thinking about this eulogy specifically in the moment and all the tensions that you just brought out.
I didn't even want to talk. I was so mad. Part of the reason I think I ended up having anything to
Barack Obama's carefully crafted image just got a comedic demolition, courtesy of Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly. With zero chill and maximum firepower, they tear through the illusions, unmask the contradictions, and turn his legacy into a highlight reel of political theater. No teleprompter can save him now, just raw, relentless truth wrapped in biting humor. If you thought Obama's charm could outshine the criticism, this takedown proves the spotlight's finally burning holes.
When they gave that speech, when he gave a speech on television, and everybody was like, this. And then they were, it kind of just went away.
It was one of the most beautiful moments in modern American history. People really actually stood up.
If we do not do at least one clip from the Barack Michelle Obama appearance, the podcast, because everybody thinks they're getting a divorce. And let's face it, they probably are. She dragged him onto her show with brother Craig.
Barack Obama could give a TED talk about brushing his teeth and still somehow sound like he's solving world hunger while floating on a cloud of self-importance. As he sails through the world on a smug breeze made of Netflix deals and nostalgic speeches, Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly just popped that overinflated balloon with verbal shivs sharper than Michelle's biceps. This wasn't a polite nudge. This was a verbal demolition. No room left for politically correct fluff or that all-too-familiar Obama halo.
Children. And in fact, a lot of what they campaigned on, they don't practice at all. Great example is the Obama administration. The Hope and Change website had to be changed because there was a bunch of stuff in there about whistleblowers.
I don't think Mr. Snowden was a patriot. I called for a thorough review of our surveillance operations before Mr. Snowden made these leaks. My preference would have been for a lawful, orderly examination of these laws.
Protecting whistleblowers, which they didn't do at all. It was one of the worst administrations.
Let's start with Joe Rogan, a man who has interviewed neuroscientists, MMA fighters, comedians, astronauts, and the occasional guy who eats raw liver for lunch. And even he couldn't resist peeling back the perfectly ironed layers of the Obama mythology. You'd think a former president would be too lofty for Rogan's commentary. But when your post-presidency tour looks like a cash grab wrapped in recycled campaign slogans, you're fair game. Rogan zeroed in on the sheer ridiculousness of a man who once claimed to understand the American people, then promptly disappeared into a sea of gated mansions, private jets, and Vogue features starring his wife, like she's auditioning for Queen of the World.
Definitely not helping the Democrats knowing what we now have confirmed about Biden.
Give me some volume and go full screen.
What you know now, do you wish you had a third term? You know what, if I could make an arrangement where I had a stand-in, a front man or front woman, and they had an earpiece in, and I was just in my basement in my sweats looking through the stuff, and then I could sort of deliver the lines, but somebody else was doing all the talking and ceremony, I'd be fine with that.
We know he wasn't really running the country.
Yeah.
We used to think he was actually running the country, and now they're like, no, he didn't even see those executive orders. That was all
While Obama was out here collecting awards for existing, Megyn Kelly wasn't about to let the narrative slide. She came in swinging with that signature delivery, part news anchor, part courtroom closing statement, part exhausted mom who just discovered her kid lied about doing homework again. She unpacked the Obama era like a closet full of designer suits that somehow never went out of style, despite being packed with dust. Her favorite target? That glossy illusion that Obama was the flawless, untouchable figure of hope, change, and infinite wisdom. Spoiler alert, Megyn ripped that to shreds with the efficiency of a TSA agent who just found a suspicious liquid.
Maybe it's the old sperm, maybe it's not the vaccine that's causing the autism.
Oh, yeah,
why don't you look at that?
They'll never let that secret out.
Good luck with that one.
That may be the key behind all the defunding everything.
What? What is this? This is just some grievance fest again with two of the most privileged women on earth who are really bitter against.
And don't get it twisted, they didn't go soft on Michelle either. If Barack was the voice of the brand, Michelle was the marketing department, creative director, and lifestyle influencer all rolled into one. It's not enough that she took kale and turned it into a national punishment.
No, she did it while guilt-tripping children
into eating cafeteria quinoa, while her own family dined on gourmet spreads at state dinners. The woman gave a speech on equity while wearing heels that cost more than most Americans make in a week.
But sure, tell us more about sacrifice.
Joan Rivers said that Michelle Obama was a man before she died.
Was that a joke? I thought it was a joke.
I thought it was a joke too, but the way she said it wasn't like jokey. She was like, oh, come on, everybody knows Michelle Obama's the man. Like, remember that?
Yeah, like, would Big Mike kill you for that?
Rogan took that hypocrisy and ran it through the meat grinder. Nothing says we understand the working class like turning your post-White House years into a luxury vacation, one that occasionally pauses for sponsored podcasts and publishing deals.
Rogan didn't just call out the optics.
He dismantled them like a garage gym setup that looked impressive on Instagram until someone actually used it and realized the weights were hollow. The Obamas turned public service into a personal brand. And Rogan treated it like the wellness influencer who claims you can cure anxiety with lavender oil. And 7 push-ups. Megyn, meanwhile, dragged Obama's foreign policy decisions like they were group projects he didn't finish but still claimed credit for. She pointed out the Nobel Peace Prize debacle like it was the opening joke at a roast. Because when you get a peace prize before you've done anything peaceful, it starts sounding less like an honor and more like a participation trophy for not being George W. Bush.
Which is like these rich and powerful people who are totally unaware of how people perceive them and how great their lives are and how little they should be complaining, period, never mind publicly. Which leads me to Michelle Obama. Every day, she's dropped another negativity bomb on us, whether on her podcast or on someone else's. I mean, this audience knows she never says anything positive. It is all complaints. So she goes on another podcast. She's promoting her show, so she's making the rounds. The Diary of a CEO podcast.
That Peace Prize aged about as well as a Blockbuster membership. Megyn laid into the surveillance state like she was auditing the NSA. Remember when Obama's administration expanded spying programs while smiling for photo ops like he was hosting Reading Rainbow?
Yeah, Megyn remembered.
And she laid it all out with the precision of someone who actually reads declassified memos, not just vibes and filtered nostalgia. Hope and change, it turns out, sometimes comes with a side of metadata harvesting and drone strikes. Rogan picked up that baton and sprinted straight into Obama's media legacy, the interviews, the documentaries, the narrated nostalgia. It's like the man is trying to win an Emmy for being a former president. Rogan mopped the softballs lobbed at him by late-night hosts like they were pitching underhand at a T-ball game for billionaires.
Nice to have you both in the same room together.
I know, because when we aren't, folks think we're...
The things that I just miss, right? So I don't even know this stuff's going on.
Right.
And then somebody will mention it to me and I'm all like, what are you talking about?
People think that they're on the outs because they're not always in the same room together, Maureen. That's what she would like people to believe. Like she had what, 1 or 2 public appearances without him, and that's what led to the divorce speculation. That's not quite it, my dear. It's what are the things? Oh, your words. It's your.
How can someone be so relatable while doing everything possible to stay 3 zip codes removed from the people he claims to understand? Barack talks about the middle class like he's describing an exotic species he read about once in a sociology textbook. Megyn tore into the condescending glow that follows Obama everywhere, like he's the human version of a TEDx talk, polished, rehearsed, and vaguely unsatisfying if you actually dig into the content. He's the only guy who could say absolutely nothing for 15 minutes and still get applauded like he just cured polio. Meanwhile, his record tells a different story, deportation numbers that would make his critics faint. Global conflict escalations that flew under the radar. Domestic divisions so wide, you could drive a motorcade through them. Then they hit the money trail. Oh, the post-presidency money trail. Rogan scoffed at the speaking fees like they were a personal insult to anyone who works an actual job. Hundreds of thousands of dollars per speech just to give a TED-worthy recap of how I felt while being famous.
Instant affectation, like, oh, my man. And like she doubles down in the following clip. It's just over the top. And here it is.
There hasn't been one moment in our
marriage where I thought about quitting my man. And we've had some really hard times, but we have had a lot of fun times, a lot of adventures, and I have become a better person because of the man I'm married to.
There ain't been 1 minute when I thought about quitting my man. Now, she doesn't talk like that, right? Who does she think she's kidding? It's quitting, like it has no T's or a G. My man. Okay, she's like, there's something going on there where she's really acting in order to be like down home and I love my man and trust me. And like the whole thing to me looked like a complete affectation.
Megyn added fuel to that fire by pointing out how the Obamas, once positioned as champions of the people, cashed out on the very institutions they once side-eyed: Wall Street, corporate media, publishing giants. That outsider narrative evaporated faster than an Obama-era red line. Michelle, of course, wasn't spared in this economic takedown. She's not just the ex-First Lady. She's a brand, an empire, a motivational poster in Lululemon. But while she lectures Americans on decency, Rogan reminded everyone that the couple's real talent is the Olympic-level mental gymnastics it takes to preach humility while being chauffeured between mansions. Rogan joked that they probably read their speeches about empathy while being fanned by interns holding Whole Foods bags. Megyn wrapped things up by hammering the celebrity obsession that surrounded Obama's time in office, and followed him into post-presidential glory. America didn't just elect a leader, they crowned a pop culture deity. But beneath the charisma was policy failure, performative morality, and an endless feedback loop of speeches that sounded great and accomplished very little. Obama was like the world's best life coach, who gives you a motivational speech and then forgets to pay your rent.
On the fire that there's a potential, maybe a divorce or some sort of rockiness going on in the Obamas' relationship. They both posted these mirrored, very choreographed Valentine's Day messages on X, but he was just seen at an LA, it's the basketball team. What's it called? I can't remember the name. The Clippers, thank you. Game without her. And the LA Clippers. Then with Steve Ballmer, who's the owner, he's been on this show. And then on Tuesday, spotted eating out at a fancy dinner in Sherman Oaks with both daughters, Malia and Sasha, but again, no Michelle, according to TMZ. So
I think they seem to be soft launching their...
And for all the fawning press and nostalgic specials, Joe and Megyn pointed out the unavoidable truth. The mess we're in today wasn't just born out of Trump tweets or Biden stumbles. It was incubated during the Obama years, under the soft lull of elegance and likability. You don't get to walk away from that like you're the cool substitute teacher who just showed up for movie day. When you sit in the big chair for 8 years, you don't get to pretend you were just vibing. Megyn reminded everyone, real leadership isn't about how you make people feel, it's about what actually happens. And under Obama, a lot happened. Behind the curtain, behind the charm, behind the camera-ready smiles. Now, as he floats through life like a retired superhero still trying to sell action figures, Megyn and Rogan made it clear. The myth has overstayed its welcome. Barack Obama may still command crowds with a glance and a carefully timed pause, but the echo chamber is cracking. With Rogan's raw takedown and Megyn's surgical snark, the glossy sheen is finally losing its shine. They didn't just destroy the illusion, they dismantled the showroom, turned off the mood lighting, and left the teleprompter smoking.
I know. And she's also out on David Geffen's yacht with Oprah. And then, her memoir was named Becoming. Look at me, becoming, with her big face on the front. Like, okay, she's a little drunk on her own wine, but not on Barack's, which is just interesting to me. At this point, after having been First Lady twice, thanks to him, let's face it, Michelle Obama was not some star in her own right. She was a lawyer, I think, at Sidley and Austin in Chicago.
And just when it felt like the roast was cooling off, Rogan leaned in harder, aiming at Obama's obsession with legacy. Because nothing screams authenticity like obsessively curating your Wikipedia page while pretending you don't care what people think. Barack doesn't just want to be remembered fondly. He wants a Mount Rushmore bust and a Ken Burns documentary narrated by Morgan Freeman. He spent more time polishing his historical image than most people spend brushing their teeth in a year. Rogan mocked it with that deadpan disbelief only he can pull off. This is the guy who spent 8 years talking about transparency, then quietly slipped out the back door while his administration played cloak and dagger with press freedom and surveillance laws. But somehow, people still act like he walked on water because he wore a tan suit and made Spotify playlists. Rogan wasn't having it. He laughed through the contradiction like it was the punchline of a bad joke America keeps pretending is profound. Megyn then jumped back in, torching the performative politics that followed the Obamas like a camera crew. She broke down how Michelle became the queen of feel-good messaging while staying far away from anything politically messy or substantively uncomfortable. It's easy to sell unity when you never touch the chaos. It's like being the cleanest person at a food fight, because you never showed up with a plate.
The last day, like, when is it? When do they say you got to have your bags packed? You got to get out of here.
I don't know. I should find out. No, it's actually amazing because they literally move all your stuff out in one day. You are living there, and then suddenly it's not all out on the south lawn. I mean, they pack it up, but they will move it to wherever it is that you want to move it to. And so you're living in the White House up until Inauguration Day, and Inauguration Day you're.
And when Michelle pops up to lecture Americans about decency, it's delivered like she's handing down wisdom from a throne, forgetting that she and Barack spent 8 years smiling through polite dysfunction while their party got gutted at the state level. Megyn laid it out. Speeches don't rebuild working-class communities. Glamorous podcast appearances don't address the inner-city school systems they once vowed to transform. Meanwhile, Rogan wasn't letting go of the cultural blind spot. The pedestal Obama still enjoys is built on style, not substance. The way he talks, the way he moves, the polished delivery that makes even bad news sound like jazz. But Rogan called it what it was: PR wizardry, political perfume sprayed over